Hi, I'm Alex Levy, and I'm going to talk about an article I read. The article is titled Music in the School Life of Newly Arrived Migrant Children Potential Paths to Participating and Belonging by Felicity Burbridge Rinde and Alva Kenny. Felicity Rinde, she is a uh, music educator and I believe a professor from Norway, from the Western Norway University of Applied Sciences, and Alva Kenny is from the Department of Arts Education and Physical Education at Mary Immaculate College, University of Limerick, Limerick, Ireland. And this is from the journal Music Education Research, 2021, volume 23, number 5. Um, Hold on, I have to switch between my article and the presentation. Okay. So, why did I choose this article? I was looking in various journals of music education for articles talking about race, anti racism, diversity, and multiculturalism in our classrooms, and looking for examples of teachers who um, helped students who were the minority at their school to fit in, to feel accepted, and to participate in music specifically. So um, I was able to find a few articles talking about race and anti racism and the ideas, and it was a lot of good theory, but this is one of the few that had um, a very compassionate approach to talking about case studies um, based on observations of students in music classrooms. Um, and beyond that, it's also not just about minority children, but refugees, specifically the situation of refugee children coming to Norway and their entire families starting new lives because they're leaving a place that is war torn or whatever the issue was. This article has specific examples with really good descriptions of what these students did in class and a very careful observation from the teacher and analysis from these writers about really subtle cues in body language, in behavior, and they were able to unpack it for the reader so that we feel like we're there and learning a lot. The questions that they ask are compassionate. These are both uh, white women educators in a institution and talking about the experience of teachers and students in a privileged white world, and the kids are completely the opposite. You know, in terms of privilege, in terms of color, in terms of um, the basic level of acceptance that they will receive living in Norway. And I believe that we can certainly relate to that. We have, we hear all the time about the border crisis issue. It's a humanitarian issue, but it's also a very politicized issue. And beyond that, we have our own issues and histories of race, starting with genocide and slavery, um, and this article touches on the ideas of the questions of assimilation or integration. Do Now they use the term migrants, so they are refugees, but do the new people coming into this culture assimilate, or do they change the culture? I think that's just an open-ended question. I think that in real life, there's a little bit of both. Um, and of course, this is also a slightly personal thing for myself. I am a U.S. citizen born abroad, born in Mexico. I lived in Mexico for about 3 years. My mom is Mexican. My dad is American. His culture is American. His culture is white. Her culture is very much of the mestizo mainstream, but her skin is dark. It's darker than mine. Her experience is different than mine. My experience coming to America was a little bit that of an immigrant, though I certainly had a lot of privileges that other immigrants don't, whether it be my middle class upbringing. Although it was, maybe a little lower in the beginning, we moved upward kind of quickly, and then also have being fluently bilingual as a young kid, and then adopting English as my main language. Um, it was easier for me to fit in. So, this topic is important to me personally because I want to respond to those in similar situations, but also in much um, more challenging situations than what I experienced. And this was a helpful article. So, let's look at the abstract a little bit, the first sentence a little beyond. This article addresses migrant children's entries into new education systems from the vantage point of musical participation through an ethnographic study of one Norwegian primary school. And four themes emerged: self presentation and creativity, new roles, uh, memories of family and home and belonging. And so now I'll get into what each one meant. Self presentation and creativity. They told the story of Ahmad, and I actually would like to read the quote because it's pretty interesting. Allow me to find it. I have to scroll down a little bit. Apologize for the delay. Here we are. During today's session, Ahmad chose to sing a pop song in his native language. Hassan and Kareem, from the same country as Ahmad, immediately joined in clapping and singing. Ahmad made silencing motions as he sang, knitting his brows, and they stopped. But as the chorus started, both jumped up and started to sing and dance in the middle of the circle, their arms above their heads. As Hassan danced, I saw his eyes darting round the room. He espied the paper towel dispenser by the basin, still singing and dancing, unless that was a typo for spied. I don't know. Sorry. Still singing and dancing, he made his way over, pulled out two paper towels, and proceeded to dance with the towels as if they were silk scarves. And that's from an observational log, November 2019. Um, so the writers go on to discuss that, and I'll quote this: one bilingual teacher expressed concern about the, quote, unruly way children engage with music. The introductory class teachers, though, appeared to welcome such episodes as signs of children expressing themselves nonverbally, echoing Arnott and Pinson's 2005 reference to a holistic model in education that recognizes migrant children's social, emotional needs as well as their learning needs. So I think they make a good point to compassionately point out that this was a need for this kid or these children. They were able to outwardly express their culture and joy um, in themselves through this music in this opportunity of the music classroom. I think that's huge. Um, Especially if they're refugees and they're coming from, a traumatic history not very long ago, to be able to express joy, that could be really rare. And it's really important for them to feel proud of themselves and accepted for who they are. Okay, moving on to the next one. New roles, Kareem. So this was the story of a kid who was seen as um, quote, a deficit position in terms of language, and with a reputation as somewhat volatile in the playground, explored through his music activity a different role for himself, reaping tremendous praise for his performance. So here's the story. Kareem was not at the dress rehearsal, but arrived just as we were tidying up. Seeing the microphone, he immediately asked to begin to sing a solo. The teacher was, as ever, positive to such suggestions and those of us still in the hall sat down on the floor, an attentive audience. Kareem found the track on his mobile and, after fiddling with the amplifier, performed for us. It was a romantic ballad, sung with great delivery, his body language recognizable from music videos in the genre. After receiving our applause, Kareem said he wanted to perform for the whole school the next day. Although the dress rehearsal was over, there was no technical help available, and the song was rather long for the program, the teacher agreed. But he did go on to sing at the school assembly. And so in this experience, he redefined himself. He got to uh, well, I hope that it continued for him, but I know that that's always a work in progress. Um, he didn't have to be seen as a struggling kid or as a kid who acted up. He could be seen as he could see himself as a kid with talent, with and who could be accepted. I'm going to keep moving and try to speed this up a little bit. Um, so next, memories of family and home. Maria's story. To summarize, um, Maria talked about a song about a mermaid that her grandmother taught her, and this was one of the first times she was willing to sing, and was also one of the first times she was sharing about her own culture. And since it was a refugee situation, again, it's not always comfortable to talk about those things. You don't necessarily want to bring it up, or you just don't feel totally safe because you are in the process of assimilating, fitting in. So if fitting in is the priority, then you're not going to want to share a whole lot about something that's unique and different. But this was one example where she did. And using memories of family and home helped her to feel comfortable and to accept herself in this new situation. And then finally, belonging. Um, this was the story of the students again sharing a song in their first language, and the teacher trying to understand and be encouraging. And they said, "Oh, I see. I try as well as I can to repeat a word, and I'd heard several times, is this the word for freedom, perhaps? No, that means listen to me." I asked where he learned the song. At home? No, he learned it at the refugee camp. And do your family sing lots of songs at home? They sing a lot, he replies, but not that song. Then he picks it up and goes to class, and he gives me a high five on the way out. And that's from an observation log in 2020. Um, so it's an example uh, of a student using music to, um, or an example of which music and making music establishes a place, and I'll quote from here, where it is happening a set of relationships. And in those relationships, that the meaning of the act lies. That's actually from an article in 1998, Small. Um, so this relationship was formed with the teacher, which will hopefully influence um, this student's feelings about his peers as well, about future teachers, and anyone else that he encounters in Norway with this positive experience. Hopefully, he feels safe. And it's just so interesting that he was singing this song, "Listen to Me," was a repeated phrase. Um, so I hope that he feels heard. Okay, so I'll wrap it up. And here's a quote from the ending, from the conclusion. They talked about a possible uh, learning experience for the teachers here. When leaving behind a deficit approach to migrant education and embracing a model of inclusive migrant education that permeates the entire school culture. So, a culture can be established in our music rooms that doesn't treat a um, an incoming person with challenging history, with new language skills, they can be embraced, accepted, compassionately talked to, and taught. And yeah, I think that's really important. And I'm glad that these writers gave these children a voice and a platform through this article. Um, I wish more people could see articles like this and stories like this. It should be something with a bigger platform than a academic journal. But maybe we can do something about that.